Hey guys, what's up? School 2009 here. Today I'm going to be showing you how you can import and render your Minecraft worlds in After Effects using Element 3D. Now first, before we begin, there's going to be one program you're going to need to make this all possible. You're going to need to go ahead and download a program called Mindways. And basically what it does is it imports your 3D worlds that you've created in Minecraft and exports them as OBJ files that Element 3D can read. So once you've downloaded that, we can get started. So over here, we're going to go ahead and open Mindways. And first of all, you see nothing, because that's because we need to go ahead and import our world. I'm going to go open world, and I'm just going to use this. And now, if we want to export this, you'll see that we have no options yet for exporting, for rendering. That is because we need to select a certain portion of the entire world. So we're going to go ahead and right click, and we're just going to select, let's say, this much. So once we've selected our portion of our world, up here you'll see max height and lower depth. I would leave the max height at 255, and the lower depth is pretty much talking about how much blocks underground you want included in your model. In this case, we're going to drop it down to something like maybe 26. That seems fine. And we're almost ready for export now. We're going to go to File, and we're going to go select our terrain. Now our terrain is basically a texture pack that we'd like to use on this world. For mine, I'm going to be using this DokuCraft Dark, and I'm going to open it. Good. And now we're going to go File, Export Model for Rendering. We're just going to call it World. And you just want to leave everything at its default and press OK. It's going to process, and we'll finish the rest of it in After Effects. So now we're back in After Effects, and I already have a solid with element on it, and now we're just going to go ahead into our scene setup. And now we're going to go ahead and import our model. So here it is, our world.obj. And immediately you will see that the world is imported. Now there is one problem. We don't have the texture. It's very simple to actually fix this. We're just going to go to click on one of our materials. And in the same folder in which you saved your world, there will be 3 textures. We're just going to use one of them. It's going to be our world and the RBG. That is going to be our texture. We're going to take that, we're going to drop it on the diffuse. And you can see it's only been applied to the stone because we've only put it on the stone. But the way to fix that is just to go into your scene right here, drag that stone texture, and drop it on the entire world. And you'll see everything in the world now has its appropriate texture. And one quick note, once you apply your textures to your world, you will notice that the plants in your scene will appear with a black background. Now that is because we have not enabled any alpha, so what you want to do is go ahead and start turning up the alpha, and you'll see the black will go away slowly. And now your plants will appear as they should. Alright, and now we'll finish the rest of this in After Effects. Okay, so now we're back in After Effects, and now we're going to set up our scene. We're going to go ahead and create a new camera, and basically we're just going to position it where we'd like. Alright, so once we positioned our camera, we can start building on our scene. First of all, we're going to go to our render settings in Element. And first we're going to turn on the shading, so the ambient occlusion. We're going to go open that. We're going to enable it. And now we're going to start turning up the intensity to something like 5. There we go, nice and dark. We're going to go ahead and put the samples up to about 50. And now you will notice that it is really dark. That is because we have our radius really high. We're going to go down to something like 0.2. And now we have a nice tight shading. That's what we want. And the next thing we're going to do is turn on our depth of field. So we're going to go to our camera options, make sure depth of field is on, and now we're going to start turning up the aperture. And we're going to start playing around with the focus distance, because what we're trying to do is get these foreground blocks here in focus with the background out of focus. Okay, good. Now we have our foreground blocks in focus, and everything in the background has that nice depth of field look. So, in the last part, we're just going to be talking about how we can get this environment set up. For the environment, it's actually very simple. All we need to do is drag in an image. In my case, I'm just going to be using these clouds here with a camera lens blur on them so we can match the depth of field. Turn that back on. As well, we're going to be using some optical flares in the background to simulate the sun, and also some optical flares in the foreground as well. And these are both set to screen blending modes. And last, we're just going to put some color correction onto it. And there you go. And that is how you can render your 3D worlds from Minecraft all within After Effects and give them a nice cinematic look. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. There's a whole bunch of more element tutorials coming in the future, so if you don't want to miss those, just click subscribe. And as always guys, thanks for watching and see you next time.